Listen to this. Matthew 16, beginning in verse 13. Now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he began asking his disciples, saying, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, and others Elijah, but still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered and said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not overpower it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he warned the disciples that they should tell no one that he was the Christ. From that time, Jesus Christ began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised up on the third day. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, "God forbid it, Lord, this shall never happen to you." But he turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's intentions, but on man's." Y'all, Peter took him aside to rebuke Jesus. How many times does somebody follow the leadership of God? God's give them a direction, and then we say, "Oh, God forbid that," as if God told us exactly the plans that he had for this person. We don't know all the time what God is putting on someone's heart to do. And God forbid that we get in the way of that. But Peter was after his own agenda out of love. I mean, he'd literally seen Jesus perform all of these miracles. Why would he think that Jesus should ever die? Not to mention, Peter loved Jesus so much. But it was totally the opposite of the plan that God had for not just Peter, for the whole world. Be very careful that you are not being the hands and feet of Satan in somebody else's calling on their life because you believe that you know better than what God is doing with that person. So even when it doesn't make sense to us, and even when it can come from the most well-meaning places, we can still be a stumbling block to people that we love very dearly with the best of intentions. Take every matter in prayer to God before you speak against someone else's calling or purpose that God is trying to do in their life.